Kia ora whanau. Hey, welcome to my kitchen. Tonight for dinner I have made bourbon glazed pork ribs. These are one of my favourite things to cook. It's probably the second or third time I've made it now. These are absolutely divine. So what I've done with mine tonight is I've served these on a kumara mash, seeing as we're doing kumara July. Amazing dish, highly recommend it. Make them. Anyway, here's the recipe. Enjoy. Good morning, everybody. The reason it's morning is because I've got my coffee here. The first part of the recipe, you have to dry marinate your beautiful piece of pork ribs. It says to be done for at least 2.5 hours. I typically do mine in the morning to have it ready to cook later that night. So here we go. So to make the dry marinade, I'm going to put into my small bowl 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Into that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. One teaspoon of mustard powder. One teaspoon of paprika. And 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. One teaspoon of ground ginger. And around half to 1 teaspoon of chili. So I'm going to put in probably about 2/3. 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. And 1 teaspoon of ground allspice. This smells so good, guys. It's quite spicy, but it's also really sweet. We've got all this mixed together. I'm just going to rub my marinade onto both sides of my pork ribs. So with my pork ribs, I've got about 1.1 kgs here, and I've patted it dry. So now let's just put the marinade on. And I'm just using the tray. I'm actually going to roast it in. Okay, so I've got my marinade rubbed all over my pork ribs. I've made sure it's on both sides, it's evenly coated. So I'm just going to now wrap this in some cling film, put it in the fridge, and I'm going to leave it all day. Welcome back. So my pork ribs have been sitting in the fridge covered in Glad wrap for around 7 hours now. How do I know it's evening now? A, because it's dark outside, and B, because my coffee has turned into a glass of wine. So now my rack of ribs has been marinating. I've now put it onto a rack, which is going to sit onto an oven tray. I'm then going to cover this in tin foil. Now it's meat side up, and with the tin foil it's shiny side down. This is now going to go in the oven at 180 degrees to cook between 1:15 and 1:30. However, about 45 minutes into this, I'm going to carry on with the next step, which is to make the glaze. We're now 45 minutes into the baking of the pork ribs, so I'm going to start now with my glaze. So into my bowl goes a large onion quartered, 4 garlic cloves, again I'm putting 6 in. The recipe calls for 3 to 4 centimetres of fresh ginger. I'm going to use my ginger that I've already chopped up in the Thermomix. So I'm going to add about 3 teaspoons of my pre-chopped ginger. We're now going to chop this down for 5 seconds at speed number 7. So what we've just got now is just a finely chopped combination. Wow, this is smelling so good. You can smell the pork ribs coming out of the oven, and they smell very, very sweet and spicy. And on top of this glaze, it's going to be amazing. I'm now going to add 40 grams of oil. So I'm using olive oil. This is now going to cook off for 10 minutes at 100 degrees at speed 1. Oh, that smells so yummy. So into this mixture, we're now going to add 375 grams of tomato sauce. I use Whitlock's tomato chutney simply because I really like it. Here we go. "60 grams of bourbon, 120 grams of apple cider vinegar, 50 grams of brown sugar, 60 grams of soy sauce, 140 grams of honey. So I've got my teaspoon in hot water so the honey comes out easier. 2 teaspoons of salt. This is smelling so good. 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. So when I cook this off, I'm removing the measuring cup and putting on the steaming basket. And the reason for this is that we want as much steam to escape out of the bowl as possible. This is now going to cook for 30 minutes at 100 degrees at speed 1. Wow, everyone, you should be in my kitchen. This is smelling absolutely amazing. Gosh, have a look at that. It smells very sweet, quite spicy. and just absolutely beautifully. It just smells of bourbon. So while my pork ribs have been doing the last 20 minutes of cook, my Thermomix has been on mashed kumara duty. So I've got beautifully smooth mashed kumara. So for dinner tonight, I'm just going to serve these on a bed of mashed kumara. I'm going to go eat. Hey, I hope you guys really enjoyed the recipe. It is one of my favorites. Don't forget, if you'd like to get a demonstration of a Thermomix, get in touch. I would love to hear from you. See you later.